Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्रश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Next slide, please. The 6 students who approached Sage Pippalada had a very strong foundation in Saguna Brahma Upasana. That is Brahman associated with Maya having the gunas. Because it is Brahman and because it is only associated, that Brahman chooses to be Sattvic. Maya has got 3 gunas. If you come under the control of Maya, all the 3 gunas will work on you, which is what is happening to all of us. But Brahman, when he is only associated, meaning he is not controlled by Maya, he actually controls Maya and therefore he has an association. Such a Saguna Brahma Upasaka, they always believe that this entire creation is orchestrated by that Saguna Brahman. Another name for Saguna Brahman is Ishvara. So this Saguna Brahman, which is predominantly sattvic in nature, is all knowing, all powerful, and is able to orchestrate this entire universe. So in and through all the activities that are taking place in this Jagat, there is this invisible presence of Ishvara, the Lord, is postulated by Saguna Brahma Upasakas. They believe that the Lord is there. They believe that the world is there. They believe that Jiva is there. So Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara, all 3 are existing independently is the view. And so they actually create some relationship between Ishvara, Jagat and Jiva. This Jagat is a playground created by the Ishvara in order that the Jiva experiences this Jagat And the ultimate goal for the jiva is to reach Ishvara by either going very close to him or remaining in his loka or taking his form and nature, or in other words, serving him eternally. Salvation is the term that Christianity uses. So the concept of heavens, concept of Ishvara residing there, the concept of the Jagat, the world in which we are all there, all this is tenable. Nothing wrong, it's okay, accept it. Therefore, the student with a very firm grounding on such a philosophy puts forward the query after listening to the first query and the response. And when the Guru had in the chapter 1 announced that prana is the all pervading truth that exists in and through all creation, he says, what about the individual? The individual body seems to be standing together in this Jagat and transacting with this Jagat too. So, who is actually keeping this body in place? Is that prana, which is all pervading Brahman as per your chapter 1 conclusion, is it participating in the jiva's creation as well as its sustenance? That means, is it maintaining the body? And that prana which you mentioned, through which devata is it for doing these functions? Because definitely that all pervading prana cannot be doing everything by himself. He must have delegated that to somebody. So, which is the devata that is actually holding this body of an individual together? And what is the greatest expression of this individual body or jiva as we call it? And which among the devatas is actually the greatest? Because definitely in a huge department like the government, there are many officials, each one responsible for a specific function. So since this entire creation is orchestrated by this prana, here prana is not the breathing prana, please remember, it is the prana which is the energy principle. So this energy principle through which devata is it operating? Not one devata, which are the devatas through which it is operating? And which amongst them is the gloriful expression of that prana, energy principle? The teacher in response we saw in the last session says that the 5 elements which make up the gross body, we elaborately discussed the Panchikaranam, where the 5 elements, namely space, air, fire, water, and earth principles, come together and with a particular proportion, they actually join with each other. And they actually combine in a particular proportion to create various bodies, animal bodies, plant bodies. Science is fully aware of this aspect of creation. We know carbohydrate, fats, all this are coming together to form the human body. Same thing with plants also. So he says these 5 elements are making up the gross body, and along with their presiding deities in their subtle form, they are also forming the karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, and mind, which make up the subtle body. They are the divinities or the divine principles which are sustaining the individual body together, holding it together, as we say. The analogy was a palace held by the pillars that are holding the roof above, right? And he says all of them are its glorious expressions. But each of them is claiming that they alone is performing the classic role of holding this body, mind, intellect, gross body, and the subtle body together. This much we saw in the last session. Next slide, please. Please recall before the Upanishad started, three things are important for Upanishads to percolate as knowledge which can actually transform us. The Upanishadic knowledge can also be studied as any other textbook. We call that as non-transformational knowledge. Very useful, but because you can walk around, talk around, and boast that you know everything. But if that knowledge is not making that inner transformation, then such a knowledge, the purpose for which it is given is lost. If the knowledge is only being transferred through you, there is no difference between a tape recorder or a YouTube session and you, right? So, in order that the knowledge actually transforms you, you should develop certain qualities in you. In the intellect, you must develop faith that this knowledge is intended to transform. It has been given by Bhagwan himself and by some quirk of fate. In fact, so much of punya you have done, you are even getting an opportunity to listen. There are people who are unable to join the session live, they have to listen to recordings. The way you blink or you frown, the recording will not see you. The recording is a passive session. But the Shraddha that you are expressing flows through your eyes to the teacher, and he in turn reciprocates because he has also got a Shraddha to teach. The mind typically goes after many things in our life. One after one it goes. From morning till evening, if you just examine your mind, you will find that there are million things that happens to your mind. Not everything becomes action, but still they are there. Thoughts, 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 thoughts. As though there is an endless flow of thoughts. Even when we want to be quiet, there is a I want to be quiet thought, right? Brahmacharya is to focus that thoughts in a single channel towards realization of Brahma. And that is an exercise that we have to cultivate in our mind, that this Brahma Vidya and grasping the essence of the knowledge that is being imparted to allow it to transform us is called Brahmacharya. Brahman Charati means one who is going on the path of Brahman, such a mind is required. The body typically will derail us now and then. 2 minutes we cannot sit quietly. Some fidgeting will happen. We have all seen it. It's natural. The body will try to put its influence that it needs more comfort, and the mind and intellect goes after that. Check and see your own life. You will see how much we actually pamper our body. Taking care of our body is okay, but we actually pamper it. Your body will be as comfortable in an ordinary chair, but we want a comfortable cushioned chair, and the cushion must be 6 inches thick. All this comes to our mind. So a little austerity has to be practiced to force the body to accept that 1 hour session of Vedanta, it should keep quiet. In Hindi, Gurudev uses the word nakare. Let it not do its nakara. It does its all this mischief, right? You should not allow it to do that. So once you have got that particular level of austerity, meaning some kind of control over your body, and you've started focusing your mind in that which is most important to human beings, not to generally being, but specifically to human beings, and you have faith in your intellect that I'm willing to explore this path, knowing that some point of time it will start making sense to me, that faith, then you're ready to put forward the questions. And that is what these 6 disciples, after 1 year stay with the sage, put forward the question. The first question was, as we saw, is how does this prana, the energy principle, express to sustain creation, and which of its expression is the greatest expression? That is actually the true purport of the question, even though it's voiced and stated differently. The response from the teacher was the 5 elements, starting from space, ending with earth, functioning as speech, mind, eye, and ear, the karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, and the mind, are the greatest expressions of this prana, which is the energy principle. In mantras 3 and 4, one more aspect of prana is introduced, which is actually the true aspect of prana in the individual. What differentiates an individual from the rest of the creation is the sentiency that he is able to express. And this sentiency that human beings or animals or even plants also express to varying degrees is actually coming from that prana, which is the energy principle that is operating through these beings. In sattva, rajas, and tamas aspect of maya, the sattvic aspect becomes the jnanendriyas and jnanendriyas, and the tamasic aspect becomes your physical body. The rajasic aspect becomes karmendriyas and the pranas. And therefore, prana stands up in this particular Brahmana 3 and 4 to say that I, the energy principle, have modified myself fivefold to enliven this entire body, and that is the greatest expression of all creation. How can an inanimate body start becoming animate? How does that inanimate body consisting of just matter suddenly become knowledgeable? It can claim that I exist. It can claim that I know. And it can claim I am happy. What an expression, right? How can somebody know themselves? The only thing that is possible is being themselves, correct? But here, this BMI expresses that so called being through 3 functions. I exist, I am conscious, and I am also happy. And because it is matter, which is so much different from this existence consciousness bliss in its nature, sometime it exists, sometime it does not. So we go to sleep, we wake up, we are born, we die, we are conscious of things, and suddenly we are not conscious of things, and we are happy sometimes, and mostly we are sad. All this is expression, and therefore it is said it is the greatest expression, that this prana principle operating through this individual body in its fivefold modification enlivens it. Let's see the mantra in a little bit more deeper sense. The Brahmana, I'm sorry. Please, next slide. तान् वरिष्ठः प्राण उवाच मा मोहमुत्पाद्यत मा मोहमुद्व्याप्यथ अहमेव एतत् पञ्चदात्मानं प्रविभज्य एतद्बाणम् अवष्टभ्यः विदारयाः इति ते अश्रद्धाना बभूवः तान् वरिष्ठः प्राण उवाच मा मोहमुद्घाद्यथ अहमेव एतत् पञ्चदात्मानं प्रविभज्य एतत् बाणम् अवष्टभ्यः विदारयः इति ते अश्रद्धाना बभूवः. The last part in green will take up for discussion when we take up the next Brahmana. Right now we will not discuss that. I'll tell you why when we reach that point. So what is the meaning? Tan Varishtaha. Amongst them, the greatest and chief of all, Prana, the Prana principle, Uvacha, as though said, Prana principle cannot talk. So this whole anecdote is only an illusory concept being presented by the Upanishad for our understanding. It is as though Prana stood up in that individual conglomerate of body, mind, and intellect and says, Ma, may you not. Ma means no. In Sanskrit, na and ma are both indicating no. May you not mohamutpyadata, get into any delusions. Hey guys, just stop. Don't get into any delusions. Why? Ahameva, I alone. Etat panchadatmanam pravibhajya. By dividing myself, atmanam means myself, into fivefold powers or faculties. Etat banam, this body that you are mentioning is being held up. Avashtabhya, support, and vidarayaha, support and also nourish it to hold it together. Iti, and it stops. Now, te ashradhanana babuha pertains to the response from the remaining. The chief prana, the life energy, said to them, do not be deluded. I alone, dividing myself into fivefold, sustain and support this entire body. They, however, remained disinterested. They didn't, ye kaun hai? In Hindi, we use that phrase, very catchy phrase, meaning that who is this person? Who is this foolish guy? Like that. And they are not giving any credence to Prana's claim. Next slide, please. See, we found earlier there was a subtle competition between the various other energies in the body, expression of energy. The organs of actions and organs of knowledge will always quarrel. Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Parvati, they fight. Right? You've seen in Purana. That's exactly this quarrel. They fight among themselves, each trying to assert that it alone is the most important factor in the sustenance of the body and also contributing the glory of an expression of the individual. Now, prana that was quiet was at the substratum level, quietly comes forward in this Brahmana with a self confidence born out of its own sense of unquestionable superiority. This is what Pujya Gurudev uses in his commentary, very profound word. Unquestionable superiority. Typically, two kinds of people express superiority. One superiority which is born out of an unquestionable fact, and another superiority which is actually born out of inferiority. Both will come out in the same tone and firmness. But what is true? Only when you are unquestionably superior, there is a truth which will ring through your tones. Unfortunately, those who are also exhibiting superiority based on an inferiority in them, they will never be able to understand and assimilate this truth that is ringing out. And therefore, this prana actually voices its opinion by advising all others. That is how the Upanishadic anecdote goes. Avivekita ya abhimanam ma kurutah, says Bhagavan Shankaracharya in his Bhashyam for this particular Brahmana. Prana characterizes all the others as deluded. In ignorance, their pathetic self-arrogation has risen from their own vanity and the consequent sense of self-importance. Why are we not able to recognize our true nature? Because of our own vanity, that I am this ego, and also believing that I, as this ego, is the most important thing in creation. You are not, as the ego, most important. You, as the absolute self, are most important. That is what prana is trying to tell us here. Prana here is again energy principle. This energy principle informs all these people that it alone is the strength and power which they are manifesting. They in turn borrow this power from this prana, the energy principle, and express it to sustain this body. And therefore, this prana or the energy principle which is pervading this body and the world outside is the vital factor within the body without which the body will fall apart. And he says, I am sustaining all of you through dividing myself in fivefold to keep each of you in their proper function and respective places, position, and power. Pranadi vrittibedam swasya krutva vidarayami is what Bhagavan Shankaracharya translates this particular word into an expanded understanding. The prana dividing himself or itself into five distinct channels of activity, feeds them all in their functioning, and maintains the individual is what prana announces. Actively living through the glorious experiences in life. So, who is really living through the glorious expression of each individual? Only that prana principle, the energy principle. That alone is the truth. That energy that is being expressed is the manifestation, but the energy principle alone is the truth. See, in order to understand what is the difference between a manifestation and a principle behind that manifestation, the capability of a programmer to write a wonderful software program is a principle. The expression of the principle in a program called Microsoft Word is an expression. So when we say Microsoft Word is a great program to compose characters and words, etc., we are forgetting the principle behind it. The programmer's capability to harness the bits and bytes to express itself as a program is the power. The word program that is we are experiencing in the computer is only an expression. And if you go down to the truth of it, you'll find that only bits and bytes are rearranged in different patterns to form a Microsoft Word program or a Microsoft Excel program and do all kind of functions. We are so much carried away into that expression that we do not see that underlying channel through which the expression of the programmer is coming to us. The power lies with the programmer, not with the program. Program is only an expression. Same way, this prana principle that is operating through you and around you is the one which is actually responsible for your existence and individuality. But Because we have self-arrogated that responsibility and individuality to our pseudo-ego, we think this is important. Yes, pseudo-ego is important because it participates in all activities. But it is not the truth, is the reality. That is what we have to understand. And that is what is coming out in this Pranadi Vritti Vedam Swasya Krutva Vidarayami. That means I am the one who is actually transforming myself into five forms to help you all perform your function, is what Prana claims. Next slide, please. Unquestionable superiority, Varishta. See, there are many ministers in a government who are overseeing and governing various departments, correct? You have a health minister who's come in the limelight recently because of the pandemic. So, but however, whatever power that is conferred by to them is actually coming from the prime minister who awards the portfolio to them, right? He says, you handle health, you handle finance, etc. So, the master governing plan which the prime minister holds in his mind, along with the party guiding him, is what guides each department to appropriately enact the government's policies. So, in the same way, while the mind, organs of actions and knowledge, etc., along with the gross body, may seemingly function independent of each other and also independent of any other external influence, under a belief that they are alone sustaining this body, actually it is the prana, the life force within us, which is bringing all of them together and holds this glorious sense of individuality also. If we did not have the prana principle, no individuality is possible. Why do we say deluded? The mind, indriyas, and the body. When we say indriyas, it is both jnanendriya and karmendriya, along with the gross body. Each of them believe that they are independently functioning, and they are the most important. Every day morning, my body refuses to wake up from the bed. It says, I am the most important thing. After a battle for about 15 minutes, mind says, no, I've got to enjoy life. Please get up and start working. And the body gets up. And then in evening, body says, no, no, it's time of enough of enjoyment. Mind says, no, no, I want to watch the TV program. Body says, no, I'm going to switch off. And we go to sleep right in front of the TV. Body becomes powerful. The intellect says, Vedanta class is there, I need to go. Mind will say, let's go watch a movie. Sometimes intellect wins, we are in Vedanta class. Sometimes mind wins, we'll watch the movie. So each one of them seem to assert that they are the key function agency. They're all under delusion caused by their own ignorance, since even their power to function is granted only by the pranas, they forget it. Without prana, your mind will not function at all. Without prana, your karmendriyas and jnanendriyas will go dead. If the fan, air conditioner, water heater, the gas, the electric stove, and all the tube lights and bulbs in your house believe that they are the factors responsible for a house to become livable, that's a delusion. The electricity will have the last laugh about this delusion of theirs. Because you switch off the main power, what air conditioner, what fan. Come summer, let's watch what happens. We'll all know the importance of electricity. Right? In the same way, even though all these equipments that we are using seem to have an importance of their own, they are all under the power of prana, and prana is important. Let's see a little bit more about that. Next slide, please. Why is prana so important? See, the gross body and subtle body, the prana, which is actually the energy principle, said I divided myself into fivefold. And confusingly, the first division is called prana. But there, prana is not the energy principle, it is the vital air. So prana has got two meaning. In the sense of the first chapter, prana was actually energy principle. And up to this point, prana is only energy principle. And then it says, I divided myself into fivefold. And first of the fivefold is also called prana. Just as Ishvara is Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha, and Virata. Whereas Ishvara is also Ishvara associated with Karana Sharira. It's confusing sometimes, right? And in Vedanta, many such confusions will come. The first name also becomes the name for the entire conglomerate. We'll say Rama and his brothers, right? So Rama becomes a placeholder for the entire clan of four brothers. Same way, here prana here is also the energy principle, and prana is also the inhaling and exhaling of the vital air required for the body to function. So what does this inhaling and exhaling of air does to us? It sustains the connection between the gross body and the subtle body, without which the gross body will be separate and the subtle body will be separate. It's almost like telling your mind and intellect and your actions will be residing in America and your physical body will be sitting here in India. That's what it means. Do you think you can work? The time zone difference itself will kill us, right? In the morning in USA, you will think something, in the evening, it will happen in India. Those who have worked in offshore, onshore models of software, they will know exactly what I'm talking about. Nothing happens properly, total disorientation, right? So this prana is the one which is actually connecting it together. Without this prana principle, your gross body and subtle body will not function together. Apana is the second one. We'll see more in detail about it when we go into individual function, but here you'll get an overview. The apana's function is to get rid of waste in the body, excretionary function. And that is linked to the gross body. And samana digests the food. Samana vayu digests the food, which nourishes subtle body and gross body also. Without that digestion, your body cannot regenerate itself to sustain life. Gross body and subtle body will become affected if samana is affected. Dhyana circulates the oxygen and the nutrients through blood to nourish the entire body. So it's a circulatory act, the force of circulation. Udana is actually a reflex reaction when some unhealthy condition happens, or it also functions to separate the subtle body from the gross body at the time of death. So you will see that all these pancha pranas are linked to gross body and subtle body in some way or the other for their function. So the claim that karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, mind and the physical body laid saying that we are the one is falsified here. It is prana that is enabling them also to speak. So prana asserts itself. But their response to this is not as simple as it is. Next slide, please. When Mudas are there, no, any amount of knowledge you give them, they will not accept. So we all see this is an allegorical reference to us. So please remember that we are all now associated and identified with our karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, physical body only. So in a way, this Upanishad is telling us, Mudas, you think that you are independent. Please understand, as Brahman, I am the one who is actually sustaining all of you. Te ashadana apratyayavantah babuvah. Katam etad iti. This is the extract from Shankara Bhashyam for this particular Brahmana. Saha abhimanat urdhumutkramat eva. Tasmin utkramatyate. Sorry. Tasmin utkramatyate. Itare sarvam evam utkramante तस्मिन् प्रतिष्ठमाने सर्वम् एव प्रतिष्ठन्ते प्रातिष्ठन्ते sorry तद् यथा मशिका मधुकरराजानुं राजानाम् उत्क्रामन्तं सर्वा एव उत्क्रामन्ते तस्मिंश्च प्रतिष्ठमाने सर्वा एव प्रातिष्ठन्त एवम् वाङ् मनश्चक्षुः श्रोत्रं च ते प्रीताः प्राणं स्तुन्वन्ति सः he the prana abhimanat from indignation after seeing that they are not responding to his claim, they are not understanding what he is trying to tell, they seem to be ignorantly ignoring it. So he out of indignation urdhvam upward utkramate was rising to go out. He didn't really go out. If prana goes out, no, everything is gone, story ends, right? So he's just pretending to say, okay, I'm going now. Like, children, when they are very small, they will tell the parent, I'm going to leave the house. And they will pack up their two clothes. Very small kids, 6, 7 years, they'll do this kind of fun. They'll get angry with the mother and say, I'm leaving the house. They will put two clothes and start walking out. They will go only up to the door because they're expecting the mother to call them back. The same way, prana is also trying to only pretend to go out, but as though he is indignant, he is leaving. Eva means as though. Tasmin, when he, the chief prana, utkramati, starts to rise to go out, just about to step out, atha, thereupon, itare, others, survey all, eva, indeed, utkramante, sorry, started to go out. As soon as he started to go out, they were also being pulled along with him to go out. Tasmin, when he, the chief prana, Pratishtamane, being established, survey all, eva indeed, pratishtante, are established in their places. Satyata, just as Mashika is the name for honeybees. Survey all, eva, sorry, Mashika, honeybees, Madhukara Rajanam, when the ruler of the bees, here in this case, king or queen, actually it is queen bee, but Rajanam is actually a neutral term to indicate both king and queen. So when the queen bee rises out, Utkramantam, out of the hive, Sarvaha, all of them, Eva, indeed, Utkramante, rise with her. Tasmin, when she, Cha, and Pratishtamane is established in the hive, Sarvaha, all of them, Eva, indeed, Pradishtanta, or established in the hive with her. Evam, thus, Vak, speech, Manaha, mind, Chakrihu, eye, Shotram, ears, Cha, and Akurvata, did. Te, they, Pritaha, pleased, Pranam, the chief prana, Stunvanti, sung in his praise. So when you're threatened by your own existence, then only we wake up to the reality. All of us at the time of death, we actually are in touch with the reality. Up to that point, we think we are our own selves. It's called, at the time of death, there is an awakening. And between that death and the next birth, the jiva actually repents that I misused my previous janma in wasteful pursuits. And so next janma, when I am born, I will now continue this path of Brahma Vidya and I will liberate myself. This is the promise he does to himself till the point that he comes out of the womb and drops to the earth. And immediately everything gets forgotten and we get back into our habitual tendencies. So only when this prana started to leave, others knew that existence principle is the all-pervading truth of themselves also. And therefore they praised him. We'll see how they will praise in the next few mantras. But right now, we'll see a little bit more of this particular Brahmana. Next slide, please. Te ashtadana apratyavantah babuha katam etad devam iti. They did not believe and wondered how this chief prana could be the main devata. So when he said, I am the main one, they didn't believe him. Therefore, the principal prana got irritated and seemed as it were to try and go out of the body. When the prana got up to depart, all others immediately had to get up too. They were not allowed to sit there in the body once the prana is not there. And when it remained in its place, all others remained established in their place too. Then they realized that just like the queen bee, when she leaves the hive, all the bees leave and return to it when she returns. In the same manner, the mind, speech, eye, ear, and the rest being pleased to have been reprived in this way by the prana, praise the prana, is what this Brahmana is trying to tell. Bhagavan Shankaracharya clarifies here that Utkramantavat Utkrantavan Iva means Roshan Nirapeksha, meaning as though irritated and as though ready to go. He neither gets irritated nor he gets to leave. He says both are only temporary, because we should not get confused that Brahman will get angry if I don't realize that. Brahman will not get angry. Brahman will not be irritated. So this Mukhya Prana here, for the analogy, it says as though irritated, because never it can get irritated. When it settled down in the BMI, then all of them settled down in their respective Golaka. Golaka is a technical term in the body to say a locus where the particular Karmendriya or Jnanendriya can function from. The physical location in the gross body where the Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas will reside. Prane pratishthamane, meaning pranaha tushnim bhavati. Anuutkramanti sati, meaning it does not rise. When it is not rising is meant by pratishthamane. So when it is not rising, sarva eva pratishtante. So when the prana is not rising, they are all allowed to remain in their places. When the prana rises to go, everything has to go with it. Tushnim vyavastita, meaning quietly they are allowed to do their whatever they are supposed to do, settled in their place to do whatever they were ordained to do. See, this incident of a quarrel between pranas and indriyas also finds a place in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the Brahmana 6.1, 6th chapter, first mantra, Brahmana, and also in Chandogya Upanishad, 5th chapter, first mantra, also talks about this fight between these things. So it finds a place in more than one Upanishad. That is just for your information. Those who are interested can actually read that also. Commentaries are available for you to study it. Next slide, please. When the queen bee here, the ruler of the bees, leave the beehive, then all the bees also leave the hive. This is what we have seen. And when the queen bee arrives and rests in the hive, all the bees will settle down into their places and then only perform their assigned tasks. Correct? We have seen that as an example. In this way, it is the queen bee that dictates the behavior and function of all other bees. Whatever they can say, we are the one who are gathering the honey, etc., etc. But without the queen bee, no honey will be performing their function. In the same way, prana, the energy principle, through its fivefold modification, is established in the BMI, then all the mind, indriyas, and body perform their assigned function. And when this prana principle, through its fivefold modification, starts to leave, all of them have to leave their places and take off along with it. That is what is meant. Next slide, please. What we saw in the previous table, how it was connected. Now we will see why is it that when prana leaves, what happens to the subtle and gross bodies. See, we said the Mukhya Prana is dividing itself into fivefold Pancha Pranas, and the first of it is the inhaling and exhaling. So when that inhaling and exhaling, which sustains the connection between gross and subtle body, when that is broken, the gross body and subtle body connection breaks, and therefore there is a disorientation in the human being. So when our pranas become weak, we actually get disoriented. We cannot coordinate between what we think and what we physically do. In old age, you will know many people have this disorientation. That means their pranas are becoming weaker and weaker. And ultimately, at death, there is no connection between the subtle body and the gross body. Apana is to get rid of waste, and when that breaks, the gross body will accumulate unhealthy waste and becomes dysfunctional. This is exactly what will happen if your apana function excretion is not functioning. Have a 2 days of constipation, you'll know exactly what happens to all of us, right? So samana is the one which digests food and nourishes the subtle and gross body. And if samana is not there, food is not going to get digested. Whatever you eat remains in your stomach. You get a bloated stomach. Those who are suffering from liver function failure are actually having this samana function disrupted. Hence, we will be unable to eat, and both your gross body and your subtle body becomes weaker and weaker. Your senses become weaker, your ability to remember becomes weaker, your intellectual capability becomes weaker, etc. And Vyana, which is the circulatory air, circulates oxygen and nutrients through the body to nourish the body. And when Vyana fails, no nutrients or cells are not regenerated, all functions will get impaired. And finally, when Udana fails, which is the reflection action to unhealthy condition, or also separating the body, subtle body from gross body at death, what happens when it starts leaving? The gross body is left behind lifeless, and subtle body is detached and carried forward to the next body. So these are all the effects of this pancha pranas leaving the physical body. And that is why all of them have started coming back and recognizing this prana as the energy principle and also as the pancha pranas within the individual. Next slide. I think with that, I have done what I want to speak. Good. So we have some